say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill.
Hey guys, welcome back. So for this glittery green fall inspired look, we're going to be starting off by priming our eyes using the NYX HD Concealer in the shade CW06 and just buffing that in with a Real Techniques buffing crease brush, and this is just going to lay down a base for our shadows. And after laying down a cream product, you always want to set the eye, so I'm using ANASTASIA Banana Contour Highlight Powder and just brushing that all over the wet product to set it. To begin hollowing out the crease and adding a little bit of definition, I am taking MAC Wedge, which is a very light beige sand color, and just buffing that into the upper crease using a Bdellium Tools buffing brush. To further deepening up the crease, I'm going to take Brown Down, also from MAC, and with that same brush, I'm just brushing that more into the actual fold of the crease and focusing it mostly at the outer corner, before going in with a warm red burgundy shade from Morphe brushes. This is kind of very similar to Sienna from Anastasia or Morocco, but it's just a little bit more orange. And I'm applying that with the MAC 242. With that same brush, we're just going to blend that out so there's no harsh edges, and then I'm going to apply this warm peachy, very similar to I think is it Creamsicle by Makeup Geek? It's very similar to one of those color, like very peachy warm tone. And then I'm going to go right on top of that using MAC Deep Damsen and also with a MAC 242 and focusing this mostly on the outer corner and then brushing it under the eye as well on the lower lash line, connecting it to the outer corner, creating almost a wing but not quite. And then you just want to blend out again using the same brush. You guys know I'm so fucking lazy about brushes, but yeah, so just buff until you have no harsh edges and you look smoked out to the gods. Now, to intensify the outer corner, lower lash line, and upper lash line, I'm taking NARS SYCORAX. This is one of their dual intensity eyeshadows, and of course I'm still using the MAC 242. Then with whatever's left on my brush, I'm just bringing that into the outer corner, and I'm going to blend that out. And during this process, I'm going to be blending it into a wing shape, which you'll see in just a second. And then with a clean brush, I'm just buffing out the edges so it's not too harsh. And I think this is I have no idea what brush this is. I think it's from BEIGE Cosmetics. It was like a sample in Ipsy or something. And then I'm just going to buff up the upper crease. Now to lay down a base for the green, I'm taking Aspen Pine from TRESTIQUE. This is a green, kind of like, I don't know, it's like an emeraldy, piney green shade with very fine micro glitter in it. And I'm using this as a cream base to lay down for this shadow here, which is a green from Coastal Scents. This is from the 252 Ultimate palette, and it's just this really pretty jade color with a little bit of a metallic sheen, not too much. I don't want it to be super metallic because of the color we're going to be applying on the inner corner. But as you can see, it's just a beautiful emerald green, and it's just stunning on the outer corner, and just you could use it as an all-over lid color too. I then am going to take Hell from Ardency Inn and just lay this right on top of SYCORAX and right on top of the end of that green just to blend the two together. I sometimes find it looks a little stark if you have a shimmery shade and then a matte in the outer corner. So I'm using Hell because it's a demi-matte. It has a little bit of a sheen but not a ton, so it's going to kind of blend that together a little bit better. Next, we are laying down the cream shadow for the inner corner, and this is Shell from Dose of Colors. still fucking using the MAC 242, and I'm just pressing that right onto the inner corner of the eye, slightly going over the green just so there's not like 3 separate colors. And then I'm taking one of my glitter top coats from my line. This is the shade Opal, and I'm just pressing that right on top of the wet product before it dries so it acts as a sticky base. You could use a glitter glue as well, but I like something that has a little bit of a sheen to it, so that's why I use Shell. And then you do want to kind of go over the green a little bit just to blend it together. And then once that's done, just rim your waterline using any black liner. I'm using Cargo's Black Sea from their Swimmables collection. These, if you did not see my previous video in the favorites, these are the most waterproof liners I've ever used, and they're amazing. So I'm also smudging that into the lashes just to darken them before lining my eyes using the Nano liner from Absolute New York. Here I'm just starting the wing, mapping out how far out I want it to go, and then I'm just dragging it over to the inner corner. And you guys know from my eyeliner video, I do not like doing short strokes with my eyeliner. I find it much easier to just drag it in one swipe, and then, yeah. And then go back from the inner corner out to the wing to define that as well. If you're not using gel, you sometimes will have to use a lot of strokes with a liquid liner just because it's going over powder. But anyway, I'm now setting the liner just to make it not budge and make it a little more black using NARS SYCORAX again. And then we are going to move on to thy face. So I've already primed my skin just using my regular moisturizer, and then I'm applying Chanel VITALUMIERE AQUA in 50 Beige, just all over my face in a light layer, and you guys know this foundation is a hands-only foundation. Do not use it with a brush, do not use it with a sponge. This foundation works best with your hands. Alright, so moving on, we are going to be highlighting using the NYX Cosmetics HD Concealer. This is their yellow concealer. It doesn't look very yellow on camera, but it is. And you know, actually, I may have used the wrong one now that I'm looking. It's totally fine. Use any brightening concealer that you want to use on the parts of your face where you think you need. Oh, this one's the yellow concealer. I used 2 different ones. I'm so sorry. I don't know what the other color name is. But this is the yellow correcting concealer from NYX. And at first I used the Artiste brush, and then I didn't really like the coverage, so I'm using my finger on the other eye. And I'm just patting that in using my ring finger and not really cleaning up the shadow, but like, I guess. Now I'm going to lay down a cream highlight. This is Benefit Watts Up, and this is going to act as a base for my other highlight. And once I've applied that on my cheekbone, I'm going to apply some on my nose as well to highlight the center to thin it out. And then after that, I'm going to set my highlight using Hourglass Luminous Light. This is something I normally don't do, and I was kind of trying it out, but I'm just setting the cream powder with the Hourglass before going on top of it with an actual highlight. To set the under eye area, I'm taking Anastasia Banana again, and then some random yellow shadow. I don't know where it's from. I think it's from Ofra, if I remember correctly. I really can't remember though. And I'm just pressing that into the under eye area using a Morphe G5. It's from the G series, but it's just a dome like powder brush, and I'm also setting the upper part of my forehead where I applied the concealer as well, and then I'm going to bake on top of that using the COTY Translucent. So the yellow powder that I applied before is brightening, and then this translucent powder is what's actually going to do the baking and set and everything. So after I've applied that, I'm going to let that sit while I do my brows, and I'm using the CHELLA brow pencil in the shade Taupe. This was also in my November favorites, which I uploaded a few days ago. I love this brow pencil. It's a very neutral shade, so it works for a lot of different hair colors. And as you can see, my natural hair is black, and it even works for me. So it's an awesome pencil. I just wish it had a spoolie, because now I have to like take out a separate spoolie. But no big deal. Alright, now we're taking a blush from Makeup Artist Network. This is the lightest pink in the blush palette. And I don't know if these are numbered or whatnot. This palette was given to me as a gift, so I have no idea. I don't really know anything about it. And then I'm going to just brush away my bake using the Hourglass Luminous Light, and then also set the rest of my face, or the rest of my foundation with this powder. And this is just going to give a luminous finish to the entire face area, and then give a little bit of a brightening effect, even more so with the under eye setting powders. I don't know what I just said. Alright, we're going to just brush that off and then bronze the skin using the NYX Matte Bronzing Powder on a large, I think this is a Morphe brush, I'm pretty sure. Yes, this is a Morphe. God, guys, I'm so bad with the brush numbers, I don't know. But I'm just warming up the skin, going around the perimeters of my face before contouring using the LA Colors I Heart Contour Palette. No, I Heart Makeup Palette. And I'm going to take an Ofra chiseling angled like blush brush and just hollow out my cheekbones. And I'm bringing the contour a little bit farther in than I normally would, bringing it under the apples of my cheeks. This is just going to give a little bit more of a plump effect to your face. And then I'm also going to carve out my jawline as well, which I did off camera. And then I'm highlighting my cheekbones using that same glitter top coat. Totally don't do this for every day unless you are fine with having glitter on your face. And then I'm also going to go on top of that with the Hourglass Luminous Light. I don't know why I did that, but it ended up looking really pretty and swept away the excess glitter really nicely. Then I'm going to highlight my nose, and I forgot to show what highlight I'm using, but it's definitely one from my line. I don't really use any other highlighters anymore, and I'm also just going to carve out my nose and speed through this because you guys, it's not interesting. So I'm also going to highlight or contour under my lip to make that powdier before setting my entire face with like probably 30 sprays of Max Fix Plus. I don't even know how many. Like, I'm still going. Still going. Jesus Christ. Okay, so we're done with that. Our face is legitimately soaking wet, and we're just going to fan that off before going on to the lips. For lips, we are taking number 1 Honeymoon from the NYX Lip Lingerie collection, and this is kind of like a muted gray almost. It has a very strong gray undertone to it, and it's a very pretty nude. And I'm laying this down as a base and to kind of overfill my lips a little bit before going in with the other products. I do want this to be a glossy look, but I wanted to lay something down first. So I'm then taking Nude from Gerard Cosmetics and putting that all over the lip, and I'm just filling that in. I'm not going quite to the border just because I don't like having like that look of gloss there, so I'm bringing it just to the border of the lip and then filling in on top of that with NYX Cream Lipstick in 508, and that's just going to give that perfect nude look that I wanted. I cannot ever use this lipstick by itself because it is too pale, but when I use it on top of those other colors it works fine. Then to buff out the lower lash line, I'm taking Salted Caramel from the Chocolate Bar palette from Too Faced, and then coating my lashes with the Lancome Grandiose. And that's about it, guys. It is time to model for you, and then, yeah, so thanks so much for watching.
Say you're sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you